what I want to do is to work into these a little bit more. You can see how the wet paint or the wet water and paint have pulled up and actually given quite a nice effect of foliage, but we were supposed to be doing stones, so so you get 2 for 1 there, you get foliage and stones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a darkish colour now. I'm going to take I might put a dark blue. Let's check it. Yeah, this is quite a nice sort of dark blue, and I'm going to put some into the bottom area. So you can take a dark colour. Don't necessarily go for browns all the time, but I'm going to pretend that the light is coming from the left hand side. So I'm going to darken down the right hand side, and obviously where they're overlapping. So I've not wet it again, I'm just applying that into there. Wash my brush, and we'll take I'll go for no, what should I go for? I'll go for something like a burnt sienna. We'll put that in. I'm going to just spread that a little bit up to the edges. So just with, again, not too much water on my brush. So I've washed it and just sort of dabbed it on some tissue or newspaper I've got underneath. And then I'm going to go in with, either use black or Payne's grey if you've got that. If you haven't got that, do you remember how we make grey?
Blue.
Yeah. No, that's not just blue. Do you remember how when we've mixed them before? There's a couple. No, we don't use white. Very rarely do we use white. No. You're just guessing, aren't you?
No, yellow, red, blue makes black, don't they? Or is that brown?
Well, it depends which yellow, which red and which blue. So, do you remember that horrible green? Yeah. Viridian green, your very bright, unnatural green. That green.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and a darkish red like alizarin crimson. Mix that and you get that dark grey purpley colour.
What's the green colour?
Viridian.
This horrible one.
It's the horrible green. Don't use it on its own unless you're painting a baked bean can. So alizarin, so a darkish red,
Right.
not an orangey red, a darkish red like alizarin crimson, and your viridian. So we get a nice grey colour. So I'm just adding some of this grey, or I say use your Payne's grey or black if you want. If black's a bit harsh sometimes, just add a bit of blue to it. It just makes it a little bit softer. And while it's wet, it will just merge in and soften the shades. So, wash my brush. I'll just move that around a little bit. We don't really want any hard lines, so I can just go back in with a bit of a damp brush with a little bit of water. So we get more interesting stuff rather than just saying, right, I'm going to use brown and black and perhaps a bit of sienna. We get all these lovely colours coming through, so we use the bright blue and the purple and the yellow ochre. So they look much more interesting, which pictures look more interesting, hopefully. So with the cling film, again, we can use that in particular areas. It gives nice, again, it's good for stones, it's good for areas of foliage and texture. And the more colours you put in, the more exciting experiments you get. Look at a lovely little bit just there coming through. Real textured, stippled effect almost. And the final thing we wanted to do tonight is to look at trees. So we've looked a little bit at the sponge and foliage. But I've got quite a nice little image I found on the internet, which I will give you in a minute. But we're going to we're going to use autumn colours, so we're going to use our oranges and our siennas. So we're going to put the foliage down first, and we're going to use our round number 8 brush, and you've all got some yellow ochre. Yeah, it's a good colour to start off with. So in fact, I'll give you that first. It's easier for a reference.
Which one would you think the that one?
Do we want our brad on the
Not as critical. You can. Alright. More interesting than just a brown stone.
We dropped some snow and then quite nice.
This tree now. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the foliage.
With a sponge.
You use this time. I want you to have a go just with your paintbrush first of all, and then hopefully, if you've got time, you can have a go with a sponge as well. So I'm going to use some yellow ochre, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a sort of smaller version, just in the bit of paper that I've got left here. So we're just going to put down in yellow ochre.
On dry paper.
Onto dry paper, yes, the sort of basic shape of this tree. So I'm just sort of dabbing with the paintbrush. I'm not moving it left and right, I'm just sort of dabbing. So we a nice sort of English oak or something like that. So we get the idea of the shape of the tree, first of all. So we then want to take a more orangey colour, so like a burnt sienna light red, something like that would be fine. And again, while it's still wet, we can drop that in. Denser towards the middle of the tree. And if it's getting a little bit too strong colour at the edges, we can always, just with a damp brush, again wash it, dry it on your bit of tissue. You can also soften the edges a little bit. The nice thing about watercolour is we can move stuff about and change it. They're noisy in there, aren't they?
They always are.
They always are, yes. So we want to go again a little bit darker, so a nice dark brown. We've got something like a sepia, Van Dyke brown, burnt umber.
Are you kind of merging the two colours, yeah?
Yeah, so they're sort of, yeah. So again, I'm just dabbing with the paintbrush, we get more towards the centre, just sort of dabbing with it as it gets denser and darker. So again, it's wet into wet. We've got the wet tree and we're just dabbing with the paintbrush and using a bit of masking tape that tells me it's my paintbrush, so I don't get mixed up. You can leave some little bits of the background coming through, so obviously if we're putting it onto a bluish sky, that would be coming through.
What do I do if mine's too wet? I feel like I'm just getting
Get a puddle, you can start again, or you can try and dab some off if you want. This is the idea of trying things out before diving in and doing them, because obviously by trying things out first you make the mistakes, and then hopefully when you come to do it in your actual painting it comes out okay. You want it to sort of get paler towards the edge. So if you think, well, I've gone a bit too dark, or as I say, it gets a bit too wet, you can always lift out little bits. Just sort of dab at it with your sponge. Sorry, with your tissue. You could use your sponge as well. It's almost got some bits of mauve in this, so just got a thin finish wash of mauve I'm going to put in to try and worrying about the branches or anything yet. We're going to put those in later on. Almost like creating the leaf shapes just by dabbing with the brush. And while it's wet, it should all hopefully blend in. We don't want just a blob of colour. We want to try and show that there's shapes and leaf shapes in there. Another paintbrush that is very useful is a rigger brush. Again, used used these in the past. We used them quite a bit when we did the dogs and cats for getting long thin lines like the whiskers and fur, but you can see they're much longer hair on them, so they're great for doing long thin lines like branches. But again, that's quite a useful brush to have in your kit. So I'm going to mix up a dark brown. I don't know whether this is still a bit wet, it might run too much. And we're going to put the trunk in. Have you got your rigger there, Emma? You lost it.
What colour are you doing for the trunk?
So I'm keeping it a nice dark brown initially. We'll put that brown on. You can see the trunk in parts, but where it's heavy foliage you won't see it. So what we don't want to do is to just draw the trunk straight up the middle of the tree. It's still a little bit wet at the moment actually. And we'll have it coming through at certain spots. Look at the shape of your tree and think about where the branches might be, rather than necessarily than the one that you're using as a reference. So the rigger allows you to do nice long thin lines because it's much longer hair to it, so it holds a lot more paint. And you tend to use it more upright, or sort of like 90 degrees to the paper. Begin to put branches in, so you won't see the whole bit of the branch, it will be covered up by some of the bits of foliage. So look at your tree and put them where you think they would be, and so get nice and fine as you get to the edge of your tree. So I'm just doing these in brown first of all. dark green, olive green, sap green, hooker's green, and I'm going to put that into mine.
Still with your rigger?
Still, you don't have to use your rigger. If you've got another small brush, you could use that. But I'm putting some green into the trunk. Into the branches. Make sure we've got some roots at the bottom and some little twiggy bits coming out. Starts looking a bit too green, just go back in with your brown colour. A small brush, doesn't really matter which one, it could be a flat one, could be a small round one. Just damp it, and I'm just going to lift a little bit of lightness out onto the side of this tree. Again, looking at lifting out like we did with the clouds, but finer detail, just to give that little bit of variation in the trunk. Still wet, we can pull little bits out. So it's completely different to the one I did earlier. Shows you that you can never paint the same picture twice. Let's put it on a bit of ground. Image that I found, it's quite nice how it's at the bottom, it's got the sort of the dribbles of the paint. Quite a nice study that. Hopefully we've got a sort of autumn tree. That's the one I did earlier on, saying it always come out different to how you sometimes think they will. Say to paint the same thing twice. Always difficult. So we've got about sort of 10 minutes left, so if you did want to just have a little go with your sponge, you could do a green tree as opposed to an autumn tree, if you've got a bit of space left on your paper. So similar to the foliage that we did before. In a tree shape, and then we can go back in with the rigger or a fine brush to add the branches.
Did you use a black rose?
No, I've used dark brown.
Yeah.
For dark brown, I've used a dark green, like a hooker's green, olive green, sap green.
What's that on the tree to make it darker? Is that just dark brown?
On the tree, it's just dark brown and the green.
Something wrong with the way.
Does make your paints very messy though, using a sponge. Be out looking at autumn trees tomorrow. So next week the idea is that we utilise some of the techniques and experiments we've done today to create a landscape. We could also work into it a bit more as well if we wanted to. We could use different mediums. If we wanted to use any pencil crayons or anything like that, that would be fine. There was a good addition with watercolours. So some of you might have an idea of what you want to do, or I will bring some ideas of how we can put these together. And I say what the idea is that we work. So either with your piece of paper we have 2 strips of masking tape down, so we divide it into 3, but we work on it as a whole. Does that sound alright?
Yeah.
Good. You will have forgotten by next week what we're doing. Okay? So I've pushed a bit out again on the trunk. And never just brown, there's lots of green foliage and stuff. be too wet, it's too
Yeah, kind of just
too wet for last time.
bog standard.
Yes,
One for the
yeah.
temperature.
Yeah, oh, nice, pretty, yeah. It's got very nice colours in that. Then you managed to get it shrunk in and everything, yeah. Yeah, that's quite good, yeah. Very old school. It's a rock from there. So, but you can work that in with good job.
Yeah, I can throw it away again.
Through the season. Yeah, you want to soften these shadows and that. Again, yeah, nicely. Nice style, always like that. I think so.
Yeah, it was my favourite because it was the least effort. Went the least wrong.
Yeah, lovely colours in there, a bit regular shape.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you can see that as very unusual.
Yeah, I said one of your little friends down there.
So yeah. So you've got some, you say you've got some things growing?
Yeah, I've got pictures probably about so big. And it's from the house corners. Okay.
Which one? The one over the tower?
Post office. The post office kind of on the corner. We spoke to the lady and she was just moved from London.
Because the one that she's mainly landscapes.
She does a lot of beachy type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll try and remember to bring it next week.
Yeah.
But I thought it probably deserves a decent frame.
We usually show and tell, but because these are experiments, we won't put everybody through that tomorrow. That'll be next week. I look forward to it. When everybody's been doing the same picture, and they're all different. Right. Thank you.
Good to be back.
It's going all right?
Yeah,
The new kids like?
yeah. On the whole, yeah, just one in particular. Who's a bit bouncy, but that way.
Very good. I'm done. No, I mean, it shouldn't happen. It's not happened very long. It's like it's dried out too quickly in the painting process, or it's wet underneath the wooden. I don't know. I will email. I better write it down because I will forget. Won't I? I'll forget to do that. Oh look, I'm still recording.